information that I could, right? Every district has its own nuances. Every district has its own, there are some things that are common to all districts. I mean, infrastructural work and so on, and some of the social issues are very common. But every area representative has to be on the pulse of his district, and sometimes there are some areas of your district that require more acute attention and that may require some innovative things. And so because Bethel and Bethlehem and Egypt has been one of those places where we have had a lot of at-risk young people and so on, you would find that there's been a heavy focus, particularly on some of the social programs and so on, to try and to treat with that challenge that we are facing. And since I started this journey, I have lost 2 friends to gun violence in and around the Egypt area. And so, a lot of the focus was to try and bring some encouragement and just do stuff to uplift that area of the constituency because of that particular type of challenge that we were facing there. So join me on this video journey, and I hope that you get the sense of what we've been trying to do, and I believe that we're going to have a fantastic meeting. God bless you and thank you.
Everything I've been wanting, manifesting for my life. Everything you've been wanting, manifesting for your life. Everything I've been wanting, manifesting for my life.
To you, the people of Bethel, I must say to you, when Brother Baines came to me, he contacted me and he asked me, he said, Brother Jai, I'm having this event at Bethel. And as he said Bethel, I say Adi. I stopped him right there, I didn't care what else ever it was about. When he said Bethel, I said, I am there. Because I saw it as an opportunity to come back to the village where I was born, where my neighbor's string was buried, and to be able to talk to my people. I stand a proud product of Bethel. I see where we know how to respond. We never know how to respond with love now, boy. We don't understand the importance and the value of love, boy. And that is the reality.
You have to just get up sometimes. You don't want to get up, you have to just get up sometimes. You don't want to go to work, but you have to just get up sometimes. You don't want to help your child with school, but you have to just get up sometimes.
I'm happy to be here all the way from Speyside tonight. And so Bethel, you must push back against any negativity and tell your young people you can succeed too.
We can't come here and judge them and condemn them. We have to hold their hand and speak life over them. The ghetto youth them nervous. All we need to do is hold their hands and say, they will tell them, God can.
All the stars.
we are so encouraged that we have the opportunity to do something like this for the benefit of the residents.
The plan was to fix it with oneself. It used to happen inside there. The drainage, they start the drainage and never finish. So when the water coming from in the back by Camby, the road used to flood.
Negative people always walking around, and the things they say can push you to the ground now.
Right, so you are the original Santa from DC. Right? Yeah, you knew Santa soon come down from the States, then that is still cold. Yeah. This is the first Santa Claus working here for the season. You understand? So you could call him 639 Santa.
Thank you very much, Assemblyman Terence Baines, and I want to thank the Department of Information for assisting with the production of the video as well. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to invite our next speaker, and he is none other than our Chief Secretary, the Honorable Farley Augustine. Please stand and welcome him to the podium.
Thank you very much. You may have your seats. Thank you. Allow me to acknowledge Deputy Chief Secretary Dr. Faith B. as well as the Secretary for Community Development, Youth Development and Sport, your area representative, Assemblyman Terence Baines, all other members of the Tobago House of Assembly who are present. I acknowledge the presence of at least one administrator with us. I'm not sure if she's here in her capacity as administrator or in her capacity as having vested interest in this particular electoral district. But either way, she's here and I acknowledge her presence. That's administrator for the Division of Education. You say, better let's produce some good people, you know. So, better let's produce some good people. And of course, all of you villagers who are present and those of you who are looking online this evening, thank you all for being here. I want to speak to you about a few things quickly. And I will start at perhaps some issues that might be a central focus for Bethel New Grange. And then mushroom into some of the larger issues that we have to deal with as an island. I take this opportunity at every town hall meeting to speak about different bits of critical policy issues. So last time we were at Mount Pleasant, I had a conversation with you about productivity among some other areas. Well, this evening, I want to start with our young people and the issue of youth development. One of the biggest challenges that we have as a government is the issue of youth unemployment or youth underemployment. And those are two separate but related areas. The reality is we have quite a number of young people who are searching for employment all across the island. Unfortunately, a significant number of our young people have been raised to depend on the state sector to find employment. So you go down to your area rep, or every time you see a secretary, your number one request is that of employment. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. As secretaries, as area representatives, we come to your house door to door, solicit your vote, and naturally if your number one issue is employment, then one of the first places you ought to look will be among the people who you voted for. So absolutely nothing wrong in searching there. But in order for us to find ways for sustainable employment on the island, we have to create sectors outside of the government sector that is large enough to sustain our young people. Because the reality is this. The reality is that our state sector can only hold so much. And it will buckle at the seams. In fact, it's probably buckling already. Let's talk honestly. Last town hall meeting, I explained in layman terms how we disaggregate the budget and what we use to pay salaries. And I'll come sometime in the couple weeks and give you the raw data in terms of how much we use on paying salaries specifically out of our recurrent expenditure budget. So yes, getting a little over $1 billion recurrent expenditure is one thing. You might be surprised to know that a significant amount of that is really on wages, allowances, and benefits to workers. And I'm not saying that as an excuse to say that the government sector should not employ anybody or that the government sector should send home everybody. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that as an island, the conversation has to now migrate to the place of how do we boost sectors outside of the state sector so that you're looking at the theatre work and you're saying, me I really want that. Government can't really pay me good. But the reality is that at the moment, the government sector is the much more favorable sector to most Tobagonians. And all of this is tied into the reason why our outward migration rate is so high. If we do an exit poll of the people that have exited this island, this lovely island, as much as they love it, the number one reason might be lack of opportunities. That's how they may frame it. And so it's a conversation we have to have and some hard decisions that we have to take. But so although when we look at the statistics, at the data, the unemployment rate seem to be very low, the reality is that we have to find ways to get much more of you to get meaningful employment. But I want to appeal to young people to work with us. Because sometimes you go to an area rep office and we find places that are looking for people to work. And people will literally say to you, well, that's not what I'm really looking for, you know. Kind of want a government work. I didn't really want to do a job over by that supermarket or that hotel or that restaurant or that cleaning company or that construction company. I want a job with you in the government sector. And so if we are to solve the unemployment situation, we have to disabuse ourselves of the notion that the only place worth working for in the Tobago context is the THA. We have to start with that hard conversation and help people build out. And so that's why in this fiscal we are going to be targeting young people with our grants for businesses, as in purposefully targeting our young people. Where I sit at finance, I see the end result of the application process for people applying for BDU grants. And I could tell you, when I look through at the end process, I see many of our communities absent. If I am to look through and see where the majority of applicants coming from, I'm not seeing people in large numbers from communities such as yours in Bethel applying. I'm also not seeing them coming from the north side either. Moriah and all the way back to Lansing. I'm not seeing them in that zone, nor much of them furthest east. And so one of the things we decided to do in this fiscal is that we're going to get up from the office, go out, find the young people and the businesses wherever they are in the rural areas, the volatile communities, and literally hold your hand, say, look, this is the form, let me help you write it up, help you with all the paperwork. If you're not registered as a business, we help you get registered. Registrar General office open here, so you could get your business registered, do your name search for your company, get that back, get registered, determine what type of business you have, ensure you have directorships to your business, a secretary attached based on the type of business you have, all of those things. So we will not just going to sit and say, well, people in the communities that we really want to impact not applying. We're going to take a different approach in this fiscal, which will be to come out of the office, find you where you are. So if you're by the side of the road selling fruits and vegetables and you just nail up something, we come in and look for you to help you get within the system. Because most of you want the help, but somehow you're trying to get the help outside of a structure. And no, we're not trying to encourage you to get your business registered and to do the thing properly just so that Imbert in Trinidad will come and tax out your money. That's not what we're trying to do. But the reality is, as a government sector, we can't give you the help if you're not doing the thing the right way. We can't give you the help if you're not meaningfully contributing on the back end. Too many of our young and youth-led businesses are operating within what we call the informal sector, and we want to bring you into the formal sector. But then that's just employment on one end. Another area is youth underemployment. Because many of us, and I was once there, You know, you go off, you study, you get the wonderful degrees, you return to the island and figure out, what should I do? What can I do? I have encountered public servants, clerk ones and so on, who have all this wealth of education in agriculture and so on. When they should be the ones running the farms and so on the island, they sit down doing payroll in the THA. That is underemployment. Yes, you have a job, you get a work, but are you doing what you studied to do? Which brings us to another question, the question of what we call datas. And your fellow villager administrator for education that deals with that scholarship program across that education for those who are going off to study. One of the things I've asked them to do in this fiscal is to further streamline the thing for us. Ask around the space, what do we need? All of the divisions, what do we need? Advertise the list of those areas and say, look, we're providing support for these areas, because we can't provide for an exhaustive list of offerings. Last fiscal, I think our budget was about 500,000, and we end up spending in the millions on this program. This year, they increased it a bit because I seen the figure shake it, so it's still the same thing. But the reality is, by the time we don't spend, we'll be spending 3, 4, 5 times, maybe more, of what we are allocated. So it means that we're trying to make magic with little. And for us to spend more on the scholarship program than what we get allocated in the budget, it means that we have to sit and take from other programs of work to fund that. So if we're going to do that, we have to guide our young people into studying precisely what the island needs. Moving on from youth employment and youth underemployment, we have the issue of crime. And it came up in the debates on Thursday last about crime and where we are with levels of criminality. Every murder we have in Tobago is one too much. That's the reality. We're not accustomed to that. But the good thing is that in Tobago space, we have quite a good success rate with solving serious crimes, in particular murders. But we don't want to have to solve any. We don't want to have to solve any, and we want a much more cohesive society. We don't want the thing to get away from us. I saw sometime recently, some folks pulled up an old video. I don't know if they thought it would have done me something. An old video of me saying I don't want Tobago to become like Trinidad. I don't know if they thought that was doing me something, but I would say it anytime, any place, anywhere, including Trinidad. That's not the model for Tobago. And I don't understand why as a society we have a habit of always wanting to compare ourselves with the thing next to. Well, it's not so bad. Other Caribbean islands have this. No, let's look at the best example in the world and ask ourselves, can we beat that best example? And so in me saying, I don't want us to become like Trinidad, it doesn't mean I hate Trinidad or hate the people. It has nothing to do with that. It has to be with saying to the population of Tobago, let us set our sights on things that are much more loftier than the baseline. Let's look at the most cohesive societies in the world, the best performing societies in the world as far as the economy, as far as cohesion, as far as democracy, and ask ourselves, can we better them? That's what we should be asking ourselves every day. And that's what we want for our young people. And so, to treat with the issue of crime, one of the things that will come up in this fiscal is how we do our educating of our young people. And I know the Division of Education is at this moment launching out with the Tobago-centric curriculum program of work and building that out. But more than that, I know the division, working along with community development, developed the whole impact program. We didn't see all of the funds to fund it in the last fiscal, but we're making it a priority in this fiscal. What impact is? Impact is us coming to the communities and getting all of our villages back to school. whatsoever that means. And we're not just talking formal education in terms of maths, English, the sciences, we'll have those. But we're talking about vocational education as well. Getting everybody back to learning. The days of thinking that when I'm done with school, I'm done with learning are far gone. We're trying to prepare a society that's about lifelong learners. Once you're living, you should be learning. In fact, the one meeting I had today, I mean, we gave holiday and I didn't have any holiday, but the one major meeting I had today was with the Telecommunications Authority at Trinidad and Tobago. And one of the things I discussed with them is, how do we get our elderly to be educated with all this digitization that's happening? Because you look around your household, you know your grannies and your auntie and your uncle and your parents who are still refusing to go to the ATM, who don't know how to push the bank card and take money out of the ATM. That is a problem. So it means that there is a need for us as a society to keep educating our people regardless of their age. On to some broader issues for us to think about. We are making some headway in terms of Scarborough and the redevelopment of Scarborough. So pretty soon, the Secretary for Infrastructure and his team will be back with you in terms of what the feasibility study has said, what is there in the feasibility study, and what are the steps we are going to take to build out the city of Scarborough. In the meanwhile, we have started in earnest in attempts to clean up the town, because town belongs to all of us. Town doesn't just belong to the people from Scarborough Color. Town is all our own. All of us have a vested interest in it. All of us, we pass through Scarborough from time to time. And we're not very proud of the state of Scarborough, and we haven't been for the longest while. And so some work will start in earnest inland in Scarborough to make it much more user-friendly. And those below, you will see them shortly. We also, and that will provide some additional employment opportunities for you. We are currently preparing for the new cruise ship season, which will be coming in a few weeks. And this is a good time to remind Tobagonians that when a cruise ship is in town, is an opportunity to make some money. I don't know what we need to do to inject in our people some hustler mentality. But how could we have a big cruise ship in town on a Sunday or a public holiday? Thousands of people on board, people walking about the town and everywhere closed. I don't know if the TH had to come and take the keys from all of you that own a place in town and open it ourselves and hire some staff to go and run it on the day. But for me, if the THA and its agencies are working to bring the cruise ships to berth at Scarborough, then the responsibility to find something to sell to them is now yours. And if you have an enterprise in Scarborough or in Charlottesville, and Charlottesville is not so bad. Charlottesville people, we are very industrious up there. So we come out, regardless of the day of the week, we come out and ensure the place is solid. Right? But Scarborough, we have to do some work on that. And I am telling you what people are saying. I have taken my vehicle and driven into town on a Sunday when the cruise ship is there. I say, well, me I want to cook today. Cruise ship in town, places go open. And then you look around Port Mall, everybody close up. All of the people around the Esplanade close up. So that is something we have to do better on this season. We're moving from, 38 to 40 cruises last year to over 70 this year. So I think we're at about 77 now and counting. So that's a lot of opportunity. A lot of opportunity. And we have to even look at the issue of people being innovative, being industrious. The Tobago I know was once very industrious. Think of the businesses in town that have lasted the test of time. family-run businesses. They're there a long time. You know, long the Abraham people, the Parkers people, them Endeavors people, when I say Parkers people, you know, long them people are in town? They're in town before I born. It has some was uptown. Well, I say David Murad business has transformed into the leather store now. Some of the businesses have been around town for a long time because the key to a successful business, one of the keys is consistency. So I appeal to you through this platform that for us to make use of those opportunities as they will pop up in the coming weeks for all of us. And finally, well, penultimately, second to last point, Ms. Park spoke about the town hall meetings, and I don't want you to get the impression that the town hall meetings are coming to an end and then that's it. Round one is coming to an end. One of the things we promised and we signed to as an accord before even winning the elections that we will have town hall meetings. So we have these meetings district by district, and then area reps outside of that ought to come to the communities and have regular meetings. So for example, my last was at Lansome. No, the last one I had outside of this cycle was at Lansome a few weeks ago. I had one in Charlottesville about the week before that. The point is, outside of these district town hall meetings, area reps ought to come and sit and have conversation with the communities. So when we finish this first round, we resume on a second round, starting up by my side, because you know my district big and go away. So the last major town hall was in Palatavere. There's a whole next side of the constituency that could not be reached in that one town hall. So in the second rounds, we're coming on this side with Speyside, Charlottesville. And then we will pick another community in each of the districts and make those rounds. So we're not coming to an end, but for the life of this government, we'll continuously have these town hall meetings, even when it becomes heated, even in the moments when you feel to come and cuss your area rep, and hopefully you don't have to do that here on this platform, right? But even in moments when you vex or you disagree, we are opening ourselves up to that conversation, because that's what democracy is. You can't love me every day of the week. You can't agree with me every day of the week. And even if you love me, which we know you do, there will be moments that you will disagree with some things, and you must be given a platform by which you could share such disagreement in the most respectful manner. And so we are happy to engage in these town hall meetings. And finally, in this fiscal, one of the areas that we're looking to move ahead with is the matter of digitizing the outputs of the THA. We're in the paper system too long. And I know somebody somewhere saying computers is the mark of the beast. I ain't no theologian like Pastor Baines, but for my in-depth plus cursory reading of the Bible, that is not the mark of the beast. Right? So don't worry about that. Computer itself is not the mark of the beast. We have to move Tobago light years into this new dimension. And Tobago cannot be left behind. We have some good things going for us. We have by far better internet penetration in Tobago than Trinidad. We just have one section of the island that we're working on right now, and that's north in the parish of St. John. That's between Palatavere and Lansome, and we're almost ready to roll that out. Flow completely, run the lines, we're just doing some administrative work, and that will be solid. All around the island will have access to high quality internet speeds, all our communities. But we have to move the THA into this dimension. So you could stay at home, apply for the grants, get approval from your house while you're in your house, because the social workers, of course, will come out, do the investigation, send the thing to your phone. You go down by Penny Savers down in Carmi, the foot of the hill, and you take out your phone and you hold it up and just put the barcode reader, peep, peep, and money come off your phone and you go out your way. The days where you had to go and look for a card and one man got have 400 cards in their back pocket, all kind of thing, while me ain't get none, them days will come to an end. No card to go around in anybody's back pocket. And with digital outputs, we are able to have greater transparency and accountability. And in real time, see how the programs are working or not working, and we can self-correct quickly if there are errors. Those are some of the benefits of that. If you're driving past True Beach down on the end there, going to Lambo, and you see some work happening there, no, it's not a hotel, is that the landing sites are being prepared for the deep blue cable, which is going to be a new submarine internet cable coming directly to Tobago without having to pass through Trinidad first, coming straight to Tobago, which means that and that should be ready sometime by July 2024. The Tobago House of Assembly provided all the necessary approvals from our end. We provided access to the land so that it can happen, and the Telecommunications Authority on their end working on getting it here. So by July 2024, the island should have what is known as redundancy in the IT world, which means even if the cable from Toko cut or break, the island still will have access. And this one cable will then provide access to some South American territories like Guyana and Suriname, and access to offshore oil rigs east of Tobago. I know they say east of Trinidad, east of Tobago as well, so that we can have the kind of connectivity needed. So that gives Tobago significant advantages that we can all capitalize on. During this week, on Wednesday and Thursday, the THA, the Tobago Assembly elected members, the government rather, will get into retreat to reprioritize based on the actual allocation that we have. The process will be twofold. So in the first instance, the secretaries and assistant secretaries will sit and we reprioritize policy-wise so that we know what are the areas of target for this fiscal based on the monies we do have. And that will be telegraphed to you sometime on Thursday via a press conference, which we will do live. We will do the retreat up at Manta Lodge. Given that the THA owns that hotel, we might as well use it instead of paying somebody else for room. So the hotel is not open fully yet, but it's not open as yet, but we will test it out for the retreat period. And then on the 15th of this month, we meet with all of the administrators. Next month, November, we're talking. 15th of November, meet with all the administrators, management accountants, AE1s, and we sit and not just have the priorities insofar as the policy directives for the year, but we align actual dollars and cents to the projects so that then secretaries, assistant secretaries and administrators and the accounting staff could leave that meeting and just run with the projects. I am advised that the public servants in Tobago are better behaved than those in Trinidad. So I don't have to mirror the Prime Minister on this conversation on the public servants. I am advised that some divisions don't calculate up the money already in terms of what has to happen for back pay and increases and so on. And I have advised the Chief Administrator that for the divisions, as fast as they're ready, let us go and make the necessary payments available. Christmas or no Christmas, so we're not waiting till next year. The workers are working on that. And we must commend the public servants. You know, when they do good, we must commend them. When they do bad, others fuss and quarrel and so on. But when they're working well, we must commend them as well. So this is one of the areas that I think they are working on. So I know, for example, all the teachers' money don't calculate up already, right? And waiting on the money on the money to come to be released to the division. So that's something we'll want to work on quickly. So hopefully you should be smiling well before Christmas. Make wise investments, please. Make wise investments. I don't want to hear stories of monies going into banks they're not supposed to go into. So make very wise investments. Invest in yourself, invest in your families, and let's take it from there. Looking forward to your questions, comments, and above all, solutions to some of the challenges that you may have.
Thank you very much, Chief Secretary Farley Augustine. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we've come to probably the most important part of the evening, where we hear from you, where we have that conversation. We just ask you or encourage you to be courteous and respectful in your contribution. We are welcoming questions as well as recommendations and solutions. So there is a mic at the center of the aisle. Once you have a contribution to make, you go to the mic, you state your name, and you proceed. So the floor is now open.
Good night to the head table. Cindy Hackett is the name. I must thank the area rep for the track that we have down on the walking track. It is really a good thing. We see not only the village of Bethel using it, we see all other persons from Canaan and all over using the track, which is a good thing. My main issue is relating to the roadway, the main road. So I don't know if this falls within Mr. Trevor James' line. As we know, everyone in Tobago wants to own a car. They want to invest in a business. But the problem that I am having is that the cars are parked around blind corners. So you're encountering on this main road on a daily basis where persons park their car around blind corners. You're meeting up with bus. You don't know how to reverse when you meet up on the bus. There is a bar that going around the corner that is always filled. When you come on one end, somebody come on one end, a number of times persons nearly fight because of that, because nobody wants to move. We also have the issue that when we come in from Bethlehem Road to come out, we cannot see up at Hopetown. So if it is, we could get a mirror to see, because we had to actually come up on Hopetown Road in order to turn. So that is my main issue. Persons are too unreasonable with their parking. They're parking around blind spot, like if government give them that spot to park, no matter what time of the day. So I don't know if parking, no parking signs could be put on the road. Something needs to be done. It is very irritating and very inconvenient. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hackett.
Well, that's an easy one, because when I look at the regs, our regulations, it says that when park on the extreme left of the carriageway, provided that there are no other restrictions, you could park within 3 meters of a fire hydrant or the frontage of a fire station, and within 9 meters of a corner. So all of those persons parked there illegally. So that is what we need the wrecker for, to come around and wreck the people who park on a corner because they're parking there illegally. Not to harass people outside the stadium when it's a football match, right? You see all them people who park up on the corner, bring the wrecker, take up the car, and carry them away, right? So that we keep the carriageway as free as possible. And I'll give you one example. There was a situation in Mason Hall. Going to Mason Hall, I had to actually call the police and ask them to put down no parking signs, because works had just put a retaining wall on the cliffside to widen the road and to make it safer. and somebody just decide, or they make a parking space me and just parking up in the corner to narrow up the road. It's just unfair. So please, if your car build a driveway or build a garage, park by Antin and then somebody else. Park down the road and walk. You don't have to park up outside your house, right? So when you invest in a vehicle, also consider investment for parking, please. Yeah, Ms. Toby.
Good evening to the head table and to my fellow villagers. All protocol observed. My name is Mary Toby. I am living at Sesame Street, Bethlehem. The road which was cut last election throughout on the Mount Irving Orange Hill Road, right? It seems like no one is cleaning that extension from where it cut out to the road on the Mount Irving Bethel Road. So it seems like the gang would just come and clean right to the top of the hill. There is a gang working there. Also, we would like to have a mirror or two, because when you come from that street to enter onto the road, you cannot see anything coming from no sides at all. You may see a little coming from Mount Irving, but really and truly, the side coming from Bethlehem or Orange Hill on that end. So we need to have some mirrors placed there. The second thing is that since 1980 something, early up, since under Mr. Denoon time, there is a drain leading from on top of the road where the Stevens Egypt Junction and coming right down back onto Bottom Road. That drain is halfway completed. And we would like something to be done to that drain, because the residents that living down in that area there, trust me, sometimes you can't stay in your room. The third thing is that we also need some lights down in that area there. That piece that cut out there, coming down there, we need about 2 street lights or so down in that area. It is very dark. And I also want to mention that road leading from the Montgomery Road right up, come round to go down to Mount Irving, and also connect back up to that Orange Hill, Patience Hill Road. It needs some works to be done there, road works. And Pastor Baines, I don't know where that basketball court is located. We need a little pavilion somewhere around on top there. On the bank. Or some little seating area on top there, because honestly, because that was a kind of rush thing where some of us, the villagers, put some pressure on who was there before to get that hard court. Some serious pressure, right? But it's not completed. And the main entrance to get in there, if rain fall, rain trouble. So with too much mud, so we need that area also to have some works done there. And Pastor Bay, let me thank you publicly for the assistance that you would have given the organization which I am part of, for us to do some renovation on the Pantene. So I want to thank you publicly. I thank you on a little WhatsApp thing, but I want to thank you publicly for the assistance that you have given to us. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Toby.
To Ms. President, good evening. To the Chief Sec, and also to all other secretaries here this evening. My name is Joel Cadiz. And it appears though that I'm talking about road also. All my years, except for a few, I spent them here at Bethel. And there are 3 areas which I believe that they are very deadly corners. One at Hopeton Road, where the Lashley is living up there, to come around that corner. And they have one at right in front of the Bethel Credit Union. And the third one is on the Mount Urban Road. I know they call it Piani. Yeah. That road also they need to cut to make proper access for, as Ms. Toby says, vehicles to go around those corners. If that work could start tomorrow, it would be good for me. Another area is the roads, Wassa. Now, I spent 29 years of my life in Wassa. And what I am seeing on the road today, Mr. Chief Secretary, something got to be done. There's too much digging up, and you fix a leak today and tomorrow you have to come back and dig again in the same spot. It's time that something be done with the Water and Sewage Authority in general, or the workers. The daily paid workers I'm talking about now. And my final point, I think Ms. Hackett made mention of it. We are experiencing, we accepted 20, 30 years ago, but we ought not to accept it today. That folks are putting up building on the edge of the road. Still, somebody must pass by and probably saw it and make some recommendation about that. We need to improve our roads. We don't want people to die on our roads. So I hope and trust, by the grace of God, thank you for listening to me, and I hope that by the grace of God that something be done as soon as possible.
Thank you, Mr. Cadiz.
Pleasant night to everyone. My name is Rudolph James, better known as Spissa. The whole world knows me as Spissa. Firstly, I must say, congratulations, Chief, for you and the staff. You're doing an excellent job. Secondly, I will continue in God's grace. My representative there, know me, I just cuss. But I would not use no words tonight. Mr. James, I am asking you, please, there is a road that named after my father, Ernest James. Wassa dig up the road, the same thing, Wassa again. Somebody comes in there and said that the road was leaking and they damaged the road. There's a line past here that take the water from Corland to Signal. And if that line busts, the horse would never be in there. It's a 20-inch main that passes there. They dig up the road, and from that time to now we're suffering. I talked to my rep, he said, well, we have the whole way hand because we have no money. So I understand that. So, Olaf, please fix you up there, because you ain't coming on. The next thing is, Chief, I want you to start to keep some serious meetings in Tobago to educate Tobagonians and Trinidadians about our, just now wait, don't busy me. Don't busy me. About our autonomy. Now, a lot of people might be so educated that they know the meaning of autonomy. They feel well we want to segregate from Trinidad. Up to this morning, if you listen to the media, they're saying that Tobago Carnival is a waste of time. You have Borode, nobody Tobago doesn't make no noise. Arima, Tobago doesn't make no noise. But as Tobago say Carnival, they're making noise. Like, time enough for we to do things that educate ourselves in Tobago. The next thing, the third thing is, as a goat owner, and for the past years we've been suffering with goat owners with the cruise ship. We try to set up things already to get the goat owners to run races in Boko, and the past regime, somebody there, you know, they always mix up the thing and tear up with foot. Right? So, I don't know, you said that 70 ships will be calling this year. I am asking you, please, I don't know if the assembly could do something so that goat owners could eat our food. Right? Because we want to eat something too. Right? And last but not least, I don't know if I could talk to you after, because you promised goat owners something the last time. So I don't know.
Yes,
okay.
Thank you, Mr. James.
You wanted to say something?
Yeah. Good night to their table. Good night to each and every one. My name is Peter Kojo from Bethel, resident of Bethel. Chief, good night.
Good night, good night.
And may God bless you and keep the good works, brother. My comment tonight, one of my comment, is about agriculture in Bethel, agriculture. We have 186 acres of land, Chinley land next door, Orange Road coming down on the Bethlehem back road. Chinley land, 180 something acres of land.
What's the name of the land?
Chinley, Fred Chinley, or Arthur Chinley, one of the brothers, one of them Chinley brothers.
Chinley?
Chinley, yeah, Chinley,
right.
yeah. And for the longest while we asking our representative and them the past representative about the land, acquire the land for the people of Bethel and around in Bethel. Agriculture, housing, what we want to do with the land. Is the land lie down there before parents work on the land, my grandparents and then walk their tail out on the land. And now we can get a land, the land lie down there, somebody will come from Osek and own it. And the people of Bethel will not get nothing. So we want the assembly and the representative, Pastor Baines, good night to you special, to see what we could do to let us get access to that land, because water passed through that land. Water get that main that was pulling down at Mountain, that is from that main, from that come through the land. And all the water up more been obtained in the forest up inside there, but water take the piece of the main down there and put up the station down there. You have a lot of water on the land. Agriculture and housing is 186 acres of land. Coming to our roads in Bethel, our roads in a bad situation. Our roads bad. That is one of the reasons I ain't go and get my license now, because to drive what? On what? I go and get my license. I'm walking. And a table tonight, we had to get serious. With Tobago, we had to get serious. I walked 1976. I start my political career. That the year I come out. Under the ANR. Then DSC, you DSC and NAR, DSC into NAR. And I could go on with a part of politics. When we win the first election, we take away the key from the PNM the very night we win the election. We go down and take away the key from the PNM because they don't own the center. We take away the key because we in control now. The DSC in control, we take away the key. From the PNM who own the center, then because when they get the key, nobody else can get the center. I'm telling you. I'm talking truth tonight. From the word of God, I'm talking truth. And the road in Tobago, the credit union corner. Sometimes we have to do that. Because the corner is a blind corner. I don't know if it's true, but the time they come to cut the corner, the people and them who own a little piece of bank. I don't know if it's their bank. They don't want nobody trouble it, but I think this assembly could trouble a bank now because we are serious people in the assembly now. We could trouble it. Trouble it back. Mr. Piani corner next bank again. Upton corner next bank. That Montauk road bad. When you leave the beach coming into the hotel, coming up to Bethel, bad. That bad road. Paving. Paving. We need paving in Bethel now. We need some paving. Was that digging up the road? About 10 Easters ago, was that digging a road in Bethel, and up to now they fix it. About 10 Easters now. 10 Easter gone. And the road is the same way. They dig it up and they dig it. By Piani corner coming on there, was that dig it up about 10 Easter now, and it's still there. No, they pave it. They give Sirama work to pay Bethel some years ago. Pastor Bianis, listen to me careful. My name is Peter Kojo from Bethel. Siram come to pave. On dirt. Mr. So was out there, sit down out there. We had to come out, I had to come on wheelbarrow and take up the dirt and them and mango seed and mango leaf. Siram would have paved it just so you know. I work public health for about 24 years. I work public health, I retire. I work public health, sanitation. Public health, I retire now. Nice department. But now, it's upside down. Fellas want to just push their car and get money, they don't want to work. They don't want to work. Only employ people now, but employ people who want to work. Employ people who want to work. Only will get into trouble. Only will get into trouble next 2 years, you know. Employ people who want to work. Will lift only up when they work because they're going to lift up the island of Tobago. When they work, they're going to lift the island up, but when they just want to push their car, they will carry the island down. Be careful. I'm a sportsman. I'm a golfer. I bring out a professional golfer, Samuel Kojo. That's my son. I taught him golf at age 3. He's the best golfer on the island. Samuel Kojo is in foreign, in America. That's my son. That's my son. That's my son. I teach him golf at age 3 because I called him the best golfer on the island back in 1975. Tony Jacklin. I followed him in the US Open. He win the British Open. He played for the European Ryder Cup, and he also captained the European Ryder Cup, Tony Jacklin. He's about 80-something years now. I work with him at Montauban, and I see Montauban lie down there like that. We have to do something to that golf course, you know. The biggest economy in Tobago, the economy to rise in Tobago is Montauban is the bedrock for economy in Tobago because the golf course and the hotel bring millions. I'm telling you, millions. We have to do something to get your family to understand that the hotel and the golf course is not only for the York, it's for the people of Tobago. The English people come here in 1968 and developed that. Two of the best golfers in 1968 played at Montauban. Wonderful, Shell Wonderful World of Golf played at Montauban in 1968. Dan Sight and Miller Barber and Bob Murphy, 3 Americans played down there. They opened the golf course in 1968. The golf course over 50 years. Over 50 years, and we get it lie down there like it's nothing. It's something for us. our generation to come. We can't allow one man to dominate that. Tobago is over 60,000 people. One man can dominate 60,000 people. We have to be mad or crazy. We can't allow them to sit down and destroy it. We have to do something, Mr. Chief. Or let us go down there and talk to them people down there. Because when Montauban rise, Tobago rise. You have to know history. If you don't know history, you're going to be a dead person. Know history and you're going to know how to walk. You have to know history. Montauban is the bedrock of Tobago West. Montauban was the bedrock. When you go down Montauban down morning, Montauban is the bedrock. We leave it lie down now like an economy going on in Tobago because the tourism industry is in a mess. It is in a mess. It's in a mess. And overside there, overside that south side down there, they want to dominate from down there over here. That cannot be. Port of Spain want to dominate still. That cannot be. You cannot sit down and allow Port of Spain to dominate Tobago. Else we come to sell dead people in Tobago. I, Peter Kojo from Bethel, I'm telling you that. I'm a retiree, but I have good connection still. My son doing well in America at Samuel Kojo. He works right now in a golf club in North Carolina. He's assistant professional there. He's a professional golfer. And he wants to do so much for Tobago. So much. But just the timing. He wants to do so much. So we had to do something, Mr. Chief Secretary and all the representatives. I could go on and go on, but we road. Pastor Benz, give Mr. James some advice for us. We need good roads in Bethel. We need good roads in Bethel. We need good roads in Bethel.
Since we have so many of you asking about roads, thank you very much, Mr. Kojo. And I must tell you that I did have some conversations with your son. Didn't know it was your son, but some conversations with your son earlier this year, probably a month or so ago, about what he wants to do in Tobago and contributing back to his island and so on. So we are having those conversations.
Yeah, he told me that he get a chat with you.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
So, sure.
Pastor Ben, don't do me that, you know. No, Ben. What happened to you, Pastor Ben? You're frightened.
Don't be frightened, Pastor Baines. Let me ask, before you come, Mr. Henry, let me ask Mr. James to just share some of the program of work that Works have in this area. But let me tell you off the bat, your roads are not as bad as some of the other districts. Eh? Let me tell you that off the bat. Your roads are superior to some of the other districts, in all honesty. So I appreciate how you feel about the road. I appreciate how you feel about what happens between fixing the leaks and repairing the road, but I am certain that your roads are not as bad as some of the other districts. But still, I'll ask James to perhaps share some of the scheme of work for this area in terms of public road infrastructure. I know the corner there is a big issue, Credit Union corner, so maybe we could bring an excavator and cut the corners, since we just cut corners and get away. So, Secretary James, I'm talking about road corners, eh? Physical land corners, no other corners. Yeah, go ahead.
Good evening to Mr. James, Ernest James Street. Pastor Baines has been on my case to have it repaired. And that should be done, if not this quarter, next quarter. The Mount Irving, coming up the back road by the golf course, I passed there a few times, and obviously that is a road that has to be paved, and maybe this quarter we'll get a new spreader that will be done. But I just want to say that a couple of years ago, $85 million was committed to repair the roads in Bethel, New Grange. $85 million. All of it to one contractor, who I'm sure you all know very well. What we are struggling with what we are struggling with, it seems to be a losing battle with WASA and a combination of poor work in the past. But your representative just last week before, sent me the location of every pothole in the district. So that has been communicated to the staff, and I'm sure the paving team will be in Bethel New Grange sometime in the near future. Right? Huh? I see my good friend here. Monk here is on the cards as well.
And let me just say this quickly as you're coming, Mr. Henry, about the Mount Irving Golf Course. I don't want you to blame Miss Jacqueline York and the managers there. We are actually in conversation with them about repairing the golf course and having the golf course as a public course, accessible to the public. Just at the last meeting we were to have to tie this up, I was unavailable. But we are almost there with planning out the work for the golf course, and they are very much in the conversation, very much willing to allow the THA to help in repairing the golf course. Please note, though, that the cost of repairing golf courses is quite expensive, so it will not be a cheap venture, but we appreciate that it will have quite a big impact on the economy, especially in this area. All of the people with guest houses, Airbnbs, hotels and so on, they all could utilize the same golf course once it's up and running. And of course, we could get more youngsters from the Bethel community becoming just like Samuel Kojo on the golf course. So we are actually having the conversations and making the plans to fix the golf course down at Mount Irving. We have started that already.
Pleasant good night. My name is Darren Henry. I'm not going to go through anything about roads again. I think my concern fall on the lap of the Secretary for Health, and it might be a island-wide issue. You need to, if you could look at that situation with garbage disposal, dogs and cats, link it to tourism, look at road kills. We can't have tourism and a dog rotting away on the road, etc., etc. So we need to look at that and link everything to tourism. And those are my main concerns. Pastor Baines, in fact, everybody expounded the issues already, but if you could look at those two issues.
Thank you, Mr. Henry.
Good evening to the head table. My name is Clyde Williams. Mr. Chairman, all right, let me just repeat. My name is Clyde Williams. Mr. Chairman, members of the head table, I want to just raise a few concerns here. Number one, I would like you, Mr. Chairman, to give us an update on the Autonomy for Tobago. I look at the slate in government, and I thought we have the power, the manpower there as to articulate that kind of change to give us the autonomy that we want. Because when you have a prime minister coming from Tobago, you have senators coming from Tobago, you have ministers east and west from Tobago, I thought we have the kind of power that will give us the autonomy for Tobago. Mr. Chairman, if we cannot control or define our destiny, it means that we are just spinning top in mud. So before the evening is over, Mr. Chairman, I trust that you will give us an update on autonomy for Tobago. To Mr. Trevor James, I strongly suggest that that sea bridge, or not bridge, that, what do you call it? All right, the stage, that stage on the sea there be extended. I know you took a lot of licks for it, but I want I strongly want to suggest that there must be an extension, maybe about 15 feet into the sea, and then you can link it to the I Love Tobago sign. So you're coming from the I Love Tobago sign straight onto the the stage and further out into the sea. Because now people are really valuing that construction out there. You know what I mean? Yes. I see people are using it morning, noon, and night, and I think it's very, very important that we look into it. Thirdly, the dangerous Lambo erosion. This fall under Mr. James again and Notsi and others. That place is eroding. I'm talking about from Abattoir come down. I'm not sure of the name of from the Abattoir coming over the sea. What you know I'm talking about, all right? My suggestion is that we pile that place. We pile it and we backfill it, all right? Because you cannot wait until a car run over and then they say, if I know, I should have. I hope you know the place I'm talking about, all right? I asked Mr. Samsu one time because the planks, not planks you call it, they were far apart. And I asked him to close it so that cars will not go over. And he do it quickly, right? And congratulations, Mr. Samsu, for doing that job, all right? Mr. Chairman and others, I would have mentioned a few concerns at the last town meeting, and I really want to just emphasize them quickly. One is that the road at the gas station. I mentioned it down at Mount Pleasant, and I want to mention it again. It's terrible in terms of the congestion. Sonny, I talked to you about it. Now, my idea was to make the canal, the drain, a road. But as Sonny said to me, it may be easier to go on the right-hand side, all right? You can dig down that whole place, make it flat. All we want is about 4 feet or extension, all right? And that will ease the congestion, and that can be, And finally, I also want to emphasize that Works machine shop. Mr. James, it was not the last meeting, it can be, but I mentioned it. I hope that that place, that Works has some of the most sophisticated machines in Tobago. And there are certain welding that you want to do, whether it be aluminum or not, you have to go to Works. And it is done on the hand. I'm saying that that Works machine shop should be made accessible to the public. So when you want your work done, you go to the foreman where they look at the job, assess the job, give you a price, and you go and get it done. And all this should come under the Tobago House of Assembly. There is too much underhand there, and it must be controlled. And I'm asking that you look into it very seriously. All right? Finally, I said finally already? Well, final now. I know it come through the village council, so you might not have to respond to that, all right? And that has to do with having the center being a multipurpose center, one. Two, there must be a sign entering Bethel, welcome to beautiful Bethel, right? Because that stigma in Bethel, I think we need to change that, all right? There must be a nice lighted sign saying, welcome to beautiful Bethel. Not like the one that Noxie and them have down Canaan. That has no beauty, all right? It must be lighted and look good. So we change that stigma, all right? And finally, I said finally already? Okay. All right. Yeah. Finally, it's final now, eh? The Montgomery Recreation Ground, I mentioned it to the village council. I hope that we can rename that ground. I have the name, but probably I wouldn't call it tonight, right? I'll mention it.
Share it.
Share it?
Yeah, what's the name proposal?
All right, well, let me share it. I look at Carlos Sexy Baines. He will have represented Tobago, Bethel, the world, playing golf and so on. And in my mind, I'm entitled to my own opinion. In my mind, I think it's a worthy selection, all right, to name that ground as the Carlos Sexy Baines ground. That is my suggestion, and right? So, Mr. Chairman, Deputy Chair, everybody, I thank you for listening. Thank you for coming to Bethel. Don't get discouraged, but keep the fight going. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Williams. And allow me to just quickly respond to... let me just quickly respond to these things so we don't miss them. So I come in to you So, right? Yes, I'm aware. So let me just respond to these things quickly. Update on autonomy, where that is. So, you all may be aware that just before the election of January 2021, that a bill did pass through Parliament. There was a committee of Parliament looking at it, and that we suggested changes and so on, and that has been on the legislative agenda ever since on hold. What I have done from my office has been to organize a team to develop a nice matrix of all the things Tobagoans have ever asked for over all the series of bills. From the one currently before the Parliament, the one that Orville London sent down, the one that Mr. Dumas and they did, the Kamala bill that she brought at some point, looking at all of them and juxtaposing the requests, the desires in all of those bills. See what the similarities are and what the differences are. Because this next leg of conversations on autonomy had to be an even more serious one, because I think strategically, and I say this guardedly, strategically for Tobago, our window and our opportunity for greater autonomy for Tobago will peak in a short while. Probably in a year or two, it will peak. That opportunity will peak. And after that opportunity peaks, for reasons I wouldn't explain after that, because I don't want my political opponents read the strategy in my mind. But after that opportunity peaks, I think it will be a challenge for Tobago to get it otherwise and later down the road. So now is the time. Also, the reason for developing that matrix is because I want us to break the information down in small bite sizes, especially for our young people who are not into this autonomy thing. As far as they understand, I want to work. Me ain't getting that. Me ain't telling me about autonomy. And I want them to appreciate that part of the reason why so many of our sectors have been dormant or slow in growth has been the absence of greater autonomy for Tobago. And I'll give you a simple example. We just be cussing and quarreling with Caribbean Airlines all the time about flights. But that's one of the areas we're just powerless on. And that's one of the areas that other islands have an edge over us. You think Grenada and Barbados had to ask somebody else for permission over which flight could land in their space? And I was thinking about making a bad joke, Secretary James, but it might not be a good time for a bad joke. No, but on a serious, you think those other islands had to wait on a civil aviation authority in another place for permission? So we could go out there and we could attract all the flights we want. If civil aviation says no, then landing in Tobago anyway. And having access to the island is a key element of resuscitating the tourism product. So, and there are many other areas in which a greater autonomy for Tobago will allow us to move the economy of Tobago much farther along. You spoke about extension to the stage in the sea. Well, that is a given. I think we joked internally that it should be bigger. We didn't look behind anything. I could tell you what Mr. Charles told me. He said he passed, that Hot Charles, he stopped, he come out, he asking people about where this stage is, right? And then he said, but I couldn't believe it's that little thing that they're making noise about. When you go behind it, you're seeing you're still on the shoreline and even going in the sea proper, right? And then, of course, he drew comparison to what the work they had to do. The esplanade we have now is considerable amount of backfilling had to happen for that esplanade to take place. I have an old photo in my office of what Scarborough looked like long time. And where the port is, where we drive in, where we have buildings now, is literally over the sea. And one of the things we have, and I am not here advocating that we just mash up the environment and don't care. I'm here saying to Tobagonians, we have to understand and appreciate that while some people building 400 plus room hotel in the water, in the sea in Trinidad, and making money off it, for example, Hyatt, those same people turning around and telling you, don't go there, don't do that there. And you have to understand who want to stymie your growth and development. Some of them will be happy if Tobago look like the Tobago a long time. We just dancing barefoot to tambourine drums when the daytime come, and then they call it primitive and say that is Tobago and that is enchanting. The Tobago I envision for you, that we envision for you, is a Tobago that is far more progressive than the one we have. It can't be when you're taking a boat to go into Port of Spain, your children head up in the air, they get neck pain, and then they come to Tobago and then what? We just get some huts on the waterfront and somebody expect you to say that is what development is. What we should envision for the island must be greater and bigger than what we have inherited from our parents. And no, it is not a carte blanche arrangement to go and mash up the environment, but it's also over to the fact that we sit, plan the thing properly, and I spoke to you earlier about the feasibility studies that were done, that Mr. James will come back to you about on Scarborough, that looked at how much it will cost us, what it will cost the environment, how to do the thing properly. And we literally have to do some work. You spoke about Lambo, Mr. Williams, and what's happening down on that side of Lambo, and it may very well be the anthropogenic features that we have in town giving rise to the erosion along the coastline going to Lambo. Times are changing, climate change, sea level rising. People can't walk from Lambo to town on the beach again. There is no beach to walk from Lambo to town. And if we're not careful, we will lose the old Milford Road, the same way we lose the road going around Scarborough Sec and Shaw Park. We will lose a lot more property, and the response can't be sit down, do nothing, and watch the sea come in. Part of learning to live with the sea is learning to use strategies to combat the encroaching of the sea. We just have no choice where it is concerned, and as far as I am concerned, I will fight everybody to ensure we get to develop that part of Scarborough and going down into Lambo. It is absolutely necessary. Secretary James, who went here last town hall, what Mr. Williams bringing up again is by the Canby gas station and the traffic management in that area. By the way, we must applaud the division, the secretary and the assistant secretary, for ensuring that we could now turn into a public bank without getting a ticket from the police. We will have to sit and work out the best arrangement for up by FCB Bank now, but that will come in time. But what he proposed last town hall was for us to cover the drains and extend the roadway by 4 feet thereabout to allow for proper easement of traffic, the flow of traffic, because there's always a line going into the gas station, and then cars trying to go east, trying to go west, trying to pass each other, and they converge at a bottleneck there. I pointed out last week that it may not be so easy to cover the drains because we don't know the strength of the footing of the drains and so on. And if we just cover them, then a truck could easily drive and the whole thing collapses. So look at it. I think you're now recommending that we go on the right-hand side and take right-hand side that is on about 4 feet. So we'll take a look at it to see and see how we could get that done. The Lambo erosion we're constantly looking at. The welcome sign to Bethel. Let me know, but we may laugh at it, but most of the welcome signs on the island are ugly. Our welcome signs, we might as well put up Bristol board and just write welcome to So by So Drive with Care. Our welcome signs don't say anything about our communities. They don't tell us what the communities have to offer. They're really not that welcoming. It's just a piece of tinning that we paint and just put up the words welcome to So by So Drive with Care. And then they're there for years, the weather, and then when works feel, they go in, they paint them over. I think we have to take a look at all of our welcome signs again and doing them nicely and let them really be inviting to the community. And Bethel might actually be a good place to start with a welcome sign as a way of combating stigmas and so on that be associated with the community. Here might be a good way to start. So we will ask the designers and the creative minds over in Works and elsewhere to come up with some samples, some ideas, and we will take it from there. And it might be using the community to help us work on building out those welcome signs as well. And the mechanic shop, he raised this last week about us charging a fee for people to come and get services at the welding plant especially. Yes, we could do that, but we'll need to probably hire a few more welders, because I wouldn't want the government work to be done because we have an influx of other work to be done as well. So we got to manage it. But it makes sense. Instead of people trying to beg a man a favor and they're using the government material on the low, you ain't seen them in work daytime, but after 4 a.m., equipment going zoom, 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 down in the workshop, right? Working for their own overtime. We might as well regularize the thing properly and pull in some income from it. So I agree with the gentleman on that. Deputy Chief Secretary will probably tell us about waste management quickly, because that was raised by Mr. Henry, and then we take you, sir.
Certainly. Good evening, everyone. Definitely the issues of waste management have been raised before, and a couple of things I will repeat. One is the fact that we are really trying to move away from the communal bins that are not well secured, not well designed, that allow for dogs and cats and other animals to go in. So what we are doing is really asking every household to get some solid waste bins that they can put their bins into, because the contractors that we have, as in the garbage truck contractors, they're actually paid to come to your house to pick up your individual garbage. If there are spaces where you cannot have the individual garbage picked up because the road is too small or whatever reason, and you want to put a community bin, we've had examples, and I would use actually 2 examples from my district where the community actually came together and built some really nice tiled, when I tell you proper bin, that they came together, they designed, and they take care of it, because that is the big part. The taking care of it after the fact. If it is just a community bin that is in a corner somewhere that is not close to anybody's house or anything, what we recognize is that after the garbage truck passes, because they are not really responsible for cleaning up the bin after, it just stays there and it becomes an even greater issue. So the community has to take responsibility for that. We are about to announce our white waste cleanup throughout the entire island. It happens, well, every couple months it happens. Before it used to just happen around Christmas time, but we've been pushing it to doing it every couple months. So that will happen. You will get the announcement about that soon. There is also going to be an opportunity for the entire island coming up to Christmas to really compete almost with each other to see which community will be the cleanest, because we will be we will be rolling out a community cleanliness kind of competition, and that will see each community having the potential to actually win some nice prizes. So that is something that would be rolled out in collaboration for Tobago Day and so forth coming up soon. So that is something that's coming up as well. I will have a conversation, Mr. Henry, about the roadkill. I will have a conversation with my public health inspectors and the entire department about that. Because I think we once had an arrangement where, you know, you would send out the guys to do it and then they had like a comp day or something like that. I will talk to them to see what we could do and see what's the best way to roll out, ensuring that we get that roadkill out of the way whenever it happens. Thank you.
Let me say a pleasant good night.
Right.
To this highly esteemed head table.
people of substance, people who can stand their ground. Well, my name is Ben Skins, and I know people are going to say that is not your name. Let me give you a brief synopsis. I had a matter in the court, but the policeman who gave me the ticket, I said I'm going to challenge it. I'm going to challenge this ticket in court. The policeman who gave me the ticket, he forgot my name. This is truth. So, this one case call, try one, and I hear him, Ben Skin. So I say, I'm not answering at all. Because my name, I won't say my name. Ben Skin. A policeman who know me, he say, answer your name. He say, answer to that. They may go in by no Christian name again. They ain't going by no name on your board paper again. You know. Once I could get your alias name, you have to answer. It happened to me in the courthouse. So, that's it. Now, we need to be vigilant. Every individual that is in this center here tonight, you have to be vigilant. They are doing everything in their power to undermine the TPP, THA executive. Everything. From assistant, register, general office. This fella Gonzalez with the road, friendship, environmental, certificate, clearance, High Court say, Olean, TJ, you know? The president came up. Now, we need to understand this. Where the autonomy for Tobago is concerned is only parliamentarians. If it comes to a vote, we'll be voting. Christine Kangaloo have no say. She is a cockroach in full party. I repeat, she is a cockroach in full party. But seeing that election might be called before 2025, read the beat. Read the beat and play the mark. You know? Read the beat and play the mark. Election might be before 2025. So she come up now to Tobago and greet the chief secretary, shake hand, and she conversation is, but Tobago supposed to have, its autonomy. Look so long they're fighting with. Look how long Tobago fighting with. And he had to be going on like Sean Rowley followed. What followed? What followed? He is sent shop to do the hatchet job because Tobago East and West. Tobago East and West gone already. He is saying that Christine Kangaloo go up. Want to meet the chief? Talk with the chief and talk autonomy. You don't know saying that? When Robbie did meet office, when A&R Robinson did meet office, it was on the table or the paper to be debated. It was never debated. But we are going to get autonomy. We are going to get it. We issue it. Don't let us lose faith. You see the next, when election is called, because it requires a 3/5 majority. It requires a 3/5 majority. And I don't want to let the cat out of the bag. But we inside TPP, it is surety as day. We getting it? It is surety as day. You know, sometimes Jesus speaks in parable, and the disciples ask, he said, but why are you not talking parable? He said, there are some who will not understand, but you. There are those who are wrong here, they will never understand. Another thing before I take my seat. Chief Secretary, you know what you did? You know Charles went Pandey in 1995 sent up people. Pandey sent up people. Excavator kind of thing. And the assembly said, hey, you can, no. Respect the assembly. Put those back one thing on some boat and go back down. And you stand in your ground. Don't let nobody shift you. Don't let nobody shift you. Reginald Dumas is a total clown. Reginald Dumas and Denise Soyafat Angus. Let me call them out. She say you're supposed to appear before the privilege committee. Denise Soyafat and coming to Egypt says she's looking to get vote. We're going to race you out. We're going to chase you out. We stand firm in Bethel, you know. We in Bethel and its environment, we stand firm, you know. Where you all are concerned, we are moving, you know. It are not moving, you know. No earthquake is moving on you. Nothing is moving on you. Because we behind all you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Benskin. All right, so we listen again. We have the young man there. As the young man is coming, let me just say this quickly for those who might be watching and who may not understand the linguistic framework within which Benskin spoke. He was by no means offensive to the office of the president or anyone. The expression of cockroach in foul party is a well-known colloquial saying within the Tobago space that really speaks to someone either batting outside of the league or being where they're really not invited, or thirdly, being in an area for which they have no real role or authority. And that's all that it means. And the truth is the president's role is really just titular. In this instance, we want to give assent to the law only after it's passed in the parliament. So I think he was just making the point that she does not have a legislative role or authority where the matter of autonomy is concerned. And he did also reference the time when a former THA actually successfully had an injunction against the central government that was attempting to pave roads in Tobago. What happened is that an election happened, the government changed, and the new government actually set aside that injunction. Had they not set aside that injunction, the injunction will remain in effect to this day. But thank you for your input. Turn to you, sir.
Pleasant good night to everyone.
Good night.
A pleasant good night to everyone. My name is Otis David Solomon. Otis means black leader born strong. So, what I'm saying is, as Judeans who are fully conscious of selves, as you could see, right? That statement up there, the greatest little, right, I got to say nation, but all ain't reach there. So, on the planet, sometimes I doesn't care see too good. That is very impressive. So, continue the good works. Continue the good works. Full stop. Somebody said to me the other day, come back from America and see how people get selfish. I say, why you say that? He say, you notice you haven't got a right to go certain places? And that is his observation, right? This is my observation. A lot of cars moving on the road, which you cannot see. What I can see is not taxis, right? So, that means a lot of people have matured in such a kind of way that they could balance the finances that they could afford a vehicle. That is obvious to me. But he says he's selfish. Okay. All right. Next thing I want to address is that as a nation wanted to rise, right? And you believe in God, your standards, full stuff is God, because that's what my grandfather taught me. And that is what brought me this far. Because you wouldn't like to know my story and how far I reach here. Anyhow, to the point. As a nation serving and seeking God, I was in America when I hear Burna Boy was here. But the point I want to get to is, don't follow the rest of the nations and the world. Because if a man come in a dress, what is that? All right, next topic. Follow your ancestors' example. Now who you see today? Because most people today are blind, as you can see. So who are eyes to see and ears to hear, let them hear. Right? Because he's a Rasta man, regardless of our ball head. Right? I represent the Most High House. My name is David Agenasi. And they say Israel King is Israel God. And I know my personal self as Jah because I know my truth. You got to find yours. All right. Third. Yeah, just move fast now because I'm a quick thinker. So, as he said, nobody can do all or nothing, and that is true. Nobody can do two big onions, nothing now. You understand? So all the shoppings where I see some youths playing 6 and 7, and I leave Trinidad with that. Right? Because I know Trinidad Bacchanal it was lack of resources, it was lack of food. And now everybody have food, and when I watch you them on the video with the song and the Trinidad and thing, everybody have gold chain bigger than mine, and bigger than everybody we see in the generations before, and they are Range Rover and all kind of thing. The problem was, them time there was lack of food. Now everybody hungry, and who killing themselves? Only black boys, eh? Only black boys, eh? Alright. They say I'm mad. You know what's the meaning of mad? When you cannot control your temper. Again. Alright. Crazy is when they can't understand you. So I crazy? I'm mad. Remember that. I have a temperament problem. Okay? Alright. We balance now. We good. Everybody know what's going on. Alright. Next level of ascension and consciousness. All you're free to do as all you please. Right? But in alignment with God, the Most High. Right? And again, don't follow no other nation, because here what's going on. As everybody could see, Africa is uniting. You notice they're running them white boy out of the place. Because it's we time, as you could see. But I tell you again, don't follow. Everybody know right and wrong. Since I look so, I know that. And something I want to rush to, I hear my ancestors choking me in my back to hurry up and tell that story. When I was in America, I was fortunate to see a video that every time I tell this story, I just can't hold my tears. Remember, I see my tears with a man who had temperament control. You just cry? Yes, I did. It was a 4-year-old black girl, black child. Somewhere in Africa, somewhere. There was no food. And she was trying to reach. She was trying to reach a camp to get food. She was so weak she couldn't even reach. That the picture shows her depicted us lying on her stomach. Right? And some vultures and some cobos were surrounding her. How I was able to see that, you ask yourself? How? How I see that and nobody else can see that here because a guy took a picture of it. And when he took the picture, he ran to one of the big nation and them, which obviously was white, to promote, watch the picture I get. And you know what they did? He won the prize for some kind of great picture capture. And my daughter about to be devoured, right? And he won. Yes, he won. He won. Victory. Oh. So here what I telling you. There is nobody speaking on behalf of these little children. There is no voice to them. You think I go slew a giant with a sling and a stone? You think I come back here to take a slap on a cheek and get in next side in this modern time?
Mr. Solomon, we really appreciate your
And I am about to leave. I have a flight to catch. Big respect.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
Good night, everybody.
Yeah, good night, good night.
My name is Curtis Devines, right here from Bethel. Curtis Devines is the name. Back to serious business. My name is Curtis Devines. Curtis Devines. I'm working public health over 25 years. We're having a problem. This might be a Tobago problem when it comes to drainage, right? Sanitation also. There are some drain, I could talk about Bethel, Blackrock, Boko, Lambo, where I normally work. There are some drain that under the ground level, right? Under the earth level. Those drains were built in the early 80s from URP, right? The workers that clean those drains, they clean it today, tomorrow stuff back down inside the drain. So I don't know if the $150,000 you all have for the area, electoral district or village council, if that could be part of the development for the area. The drainage needs to lift above the level to avoid the stuff from coming down back into the drain. There are some drain right in Egypt here, Coco, Lambo by the cemetery. It's all about, right? The drains need to lift above the ground level. The walls, you understand what I'm saying? Right. Yeah, they need to lift to avoid the stuff from coming down back into the drain. Mr. Chief Secretary, Tobago need 3 persons like you, Mr. Trevor Dreams, and Mr. Hochar Charles. You all are preaching what Tobago really is supposed to be developing. You all are the test the system. Trevor Dreams, excellent man. Test the system. Test the system, because I'm saying to you all tonight, we will never achieve autonomy in Tobago unless we test the system and educate the people. Very importantly, let the people know about autonomy. Mr. James mentioned it earlier. Pesa. I'm on the ground. I'm a member of this group. I'm on the ground. I hear people talk. They talk the same thing every day. They do not understand autonomy. All right? So we need to spread the autonomy word among Tobagonians, explain to them, because this is a real fight. This is not a joke fight. This is a real. Tobago will never, ever, as long as we live here, achieve autonomy unless we fight for it. Trevor James, you Chief Secretary, and Ocean Charles is doing that very well. You got to test these guys, because the government in Trinidad realized that we are fighting among ourselves here in Tobago, so they will never, ever give us autonomy. We have to educate the people and get the people behind us to push autonomy for this island. All right? We need that. Last point, let me just congratulate my area rep,
Mr. Beans, great job, brother. Keep it up. One more issue. Mr. Chief Secretary, I think Tobago need, and it's autonomy, Tobago need a university. We need our own university here in Tobago. I have a daughter in Trinidad in university. Trust me. Problems. Accommodation. Money is a problem. So we need our children to stay here in Tobago in our own university. All right? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Devines.
Let me say this quickly. The issue was raised about the drainage. You could come to the mic. The issue was raised about the drainage. And you know, all over this island we have a lot of drainage work that have passed the expiration date. That is just the God honest truth. You're talking about drains that were built when people were just picking up river gravel, no kind of steel work inside of it. The construction methods were different. And the fact that some of those drains from those special works days, special works is to call it, them special works days when they were doing drains and steps and so on have lasted so long. Kudos to those who build them. But the reality is that most of them are now deteriorating. We are seeing where some of the drains, the flooring of the drains have gone. So you have the walls on the side, but the base, I don't know what you call it, that has gone from the drains. So it is a costly venture, and it will take a lot of time to replace all of them. So we have to do them systematically in terms of reworking those drainage systems that we have that have been around for a very, very long time. But thank you for raising it, because we just have to get started on doing them piece by piece.
Good evening, everybody. I am Miss Gillian Johnson, returning resident of Bethel. I was born here, but I didn't grow here. But anyway, I have two things. One is, I'm not sure what, is it a greenhouse at the back? Okay, one question I need to find out about the greenhouse. If I need to buy something, who do I go to? Who do I call upon? Where do I go? Because what is happening is that there was somebody that called me from, I think it was Bell Garden. They wanted something to buy from the greenhouse. And I had to call somebody, and when I finally got somebody, they said that the greenhouse didn't have any. And by the time I walked down and looked at the greenhouse, what I was looking for was about way tall. So I was like, who do I need to talk to? So I need to find out, we need to find out who do we call upon. That's one. Two, I am a preschool teacher. And coming back to Bethel, I would recognize that we have a lot of brain matter down here that is, quote unquote, wasted. Because we're seeing people who I think can do stuff, especially our little children. They can do stuff. So I was asking about the very same greenhouse, and they said that there was something that was supposed to accommodate the children. At some point, they were supposed to have some interaction there as well. And if it is at all possible, when is it going to happen? If it has not happened as yet. If it is happening, can we know what are the days that the children are going to be accommodated? That's one part. The other part is this building. Is it a community center? Is it supposed to be locked up after 11 or after 10? Or, because I would have seen it, I went to St. Vincent, and the community center is used as a manufacturing area for the people who have small, like, cottage industries and that kind of stuff. And I do stuff. I make like farine and that kind of stuff, farine, pepper sauce, and that kind of thing. And I am willing to, if we have people who want to do it, I can make myself available, and we can form an industry right here, so Bethel can be known for something. Pepper sauce, whatever, right? So if we can have our men plant the peppers, somebody reap, people here, we manufacture, and of course Bethel can be known for that. We can be known for farine, whoever plants the cassava, whatever. But I have the knowledge, I'm willing to share it with whoever, and we can create industries coming out from this building. So Bethel can not only be known for fights, but we can have industries coming out of Bethel. And I want to be part of the industries, all right? I want to be part of the industry because I was born here, as I said, and I want to make sure when I go to Scarborough, I must say, I from Bethel, because we good like that, all right? So I am available. Okay, thanks again.
Just good evening. Just to let you know that the management of the greenhouse is under the purview of the village council, so you can speak with the village council president at the end.
Good night. My name is Desiree Kenneth. My main focus tonight is roads, to fix my road. I live at Arch Gully. My main focus...
Arch Gully?
Yeah.
Am I
But tell me the rich.
Am I saying it wrong? Or Aj? Spell that for me.
I know it by their name.
All right. I'll figure it out. Don't worry.
I know it by their name.
I'll figure it out. So what's wrong with the road? Tell me what's wrong.
You need to fix. When you fall down by me, it's like a swimming pool. So when I bought my material, I need to get access to go down with my material.
Also, at the moment, you can't drive down to where you live.
It's very bad.
So you have to walk.
Yeah.
All right. So it's more like a track going down into a gully right now. All right, not a problem. Samson, you could arrange with somebody to just go and visit the area for me, please. Have somebody check out the area tomorrow. Tomorrow or later this week. Because tomorrow might be too soon. So later this week, and then give us a report in terms of what's happening down there. All right, so Miss Kenneth, I'll have a team come and look at it this week for you.
Sir.
Thank you very much.
Good night to the head table. I am Urina Noel Moore. Firstly, I want to thank Pastor Baines for helping us at the greenhouse. He cut the road for us and he helped us with the fencing because we were having some theft. So I say thank you, Pastor Baines, for your assistance. I know that you, Chief Secretary, in a budget statement, you spoke about the refurbishing of this center. I would like to know the present position, and please be informed, Pastor Baines and Chief, that we do not even have a stove or a fridge in this center. So our center is just a shell. And I know that Ms. Johnson spoke about assisting us here, so I'm kindly asking for a stove and a fridge, and I'm indeed thankful for the 20 chairs and 2 tables that we had recently, but I'm still asking if you can give us some more chairs and tables for this community. Please, thank you.
Yeah, Mary Toby again. Mr. Chief Secretary, I just want to ask a question. What is the situation with town and country planning? Do our business still have to go down to Trinidad for approval? The reason why I'm asking is that I had a situation and I was to appeal the matter. And I was to travel my way down to Trinidad to meet with the committee. right? Where a family member died and left a portion of land and indicated that it must be divided among his 5 siblings. All the ratification and so on went through, land was cut up and stuff like that. Only to when it reached Trinidad, they sent back to tell us that it cut up too small. So, I appealed the matter, I went down and faced the committee. Well, you don't have to ask. You don't have to ask. I paid $400 to go down during COVID, $200 for my plane ticket. No, not my plane ticket, taxi. That is $600. 6 and 2, 8, because I had to pay 2 to go back up because I want to carry me away in Trinidad. Right? And they were telling me that the portion cut up too small. So I asked them, you all are not unique to the Tobago family matter. All you want, brother and sister, whoever, to kill one another for piece of land. And I gave them good. I gave them very good. And I had information where land that was adjacent to that property was cut up smaller than our portion. But eventually, they gave me the approval for the 5 pieces that cut up. But the reason why I asked if our business still have to go down to Trinidad for them to approve it, that is still going on?
Yes, it is. And I am very happy, Ms. Toby, that you came and you spell out a living example. So the next time I am rude or crass in my comments to some people in Trinidad, they will understand why. It could never be fair that you have to pay $800 to get the services that someone could pay $50 to get because they could just drive right where they live in Trinidad. And I'll tell you, we prepared the space, we put up the sign, we have the documents being digitized. We met with the people down at planning in Trinidad, met with parliamentary committee, the lawyers met, everybody agreed this is correct and this is the right thing to do in law. I keep writing the Minister of Planning, asking for a meeting, until recently she responded and she said, well, on any matter with Tobago, you have to go and ask the Prime Minister.
Well, let me say this.
So I have decided I am asking nobody. We will take everything and fight. We have to fight in court because this is beyond ridiculous now.
I am saying this.
And let me add one more thing to you. When I look at the budget, they allocated, I think, $1.45 million per municipal corporation to treat with town and country planning. When I look at the equivalent vote in Tobago, which I think is 677, that might be the vote number, if that is the correct vote number, but when I look at the equivalent vote to treat with things like spatial planning and things in Tobago, the amount given was just about $600,000. Compare that to the amount being given to the municipal corporations to treat with town and country planning issues. So, evidently, they want to stop Tobago's growth, keep it in Trinidad, and have Trinidadians decide where you could build. What Trinidadians know about your land, and how your land situated, and how it look, and how it's supposed to cut up. They ever come on the land? They know they come on the land to see the topography of the land. They come. Ask them if they ever come in Bethel to understand the construct of the community and how it's set up. They haven't. They're sitting down someplace far away and deciding how you should cut up your land and what you should do with your land. That is ridiculous. It's obscene, it's vulgar. And to be honest, I don't really care who vex in Trinidad. This is about Trinidad trying to control our development and tell us how we should develop, how we should go, and how fast it should happen. And I find it out of place to doing so. I hope the media take this and put this on the front page, like when they take Gypsy's stupid comments and put on front page.
I want to say this because we had a Tobagonian sitting on that board. There was a Tobagonian sitting on that board.
Representing Tobago?
Of course. And when I asked the question why I am supposed to pay to come to Trinidad to deal with this little matter, you know what I was told? I was told that it was costing them too much to bring up the others to deal with the matter.
Nobody don't need to come up to deal with no matter.
That is what I was told.
Listen, there was a time, and let me tell you something, and I don't mean to politicize this meeting, but you have to understand that your vote has serious implications. There was a time in Tobago where the secretary in charge of planning, who at the time was Hochoy Charles, used to be the final signature in place of a minister on matters of town and country planning.
That's true.
It used to happen right in Tobago. Or they take fast and vote for a man who never do well as a teacher and make him chief secretary, and then they take it and send it back down to their friends in Trinidad. So their friends in Trinidad will control Tobago's development, and for the last 20-something years, you can't move. You going down to Trinidad. And that is why none of them could tell me anything about this autonomy question. Because if you give them a chance, they will take up every single thing and send it down to Trinidad. I wonder where all your MP for Tobago, where Sue from here saying about that. She agree? That's what she agree with? All of must go back she do and tell she that you have to let she go back by she and she give back $800. Because you should have to pay $800.
I say this to say that I am saying this to say that we really and truly need our autonomy here in Tobago to fix our business here in Tobago.
For you to perform. Take the stage and perform. We backing you.
All right, so we have this gentleman who, how many more persons would like to make contributions? After the gentleman standing at the mic, do we have anyone else who would like to make a contribution?
All right, so we take the gentleman here. There's the last one?
Seems to be the...
All right.
There's one more? Where? Where's the...
All right, so we'll take you as the last one, and then we
so,
wrap up here.
Okay.
Yeah, good night. Yeah, my name is Squidel Thomas. I would like to thank the board. All they're doing here, I like all they're doing and all uplifting my community. I'm part of the council. I would like to see better done for the youth, more youth program. I like how the center wine here right now. It used to be hot, now it's real cold. So all keep up the good work, and all doesn't get compliments right through. Just I set a downward spiral, but all doing good. Right, keep up the good work.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas. Okay, can the next person come quickly?
As we get the last person who is coming to the microphone, I know Ms. Moore asked about fridge and stove for the community center. Your area will deal with that. That's under community development. And I'm certain they have votes that they could handle that. So they will come, cite it, and go and do the necessary to have it. I like that the center is cool and air conditioned. So that's a good sign. We could do it a little painting up now. Advocating for. Oh, I hear I all get the paint already. If I don't get the paint, come out on a weekend or holiday and paint the place. See if you know they have the paint, village council. They have the paint already? Oh, but yeah, we need a little painting up and, just to touch up the place and make it nice and so on. Yeah, them old school windows there too. Windows to change, right. it being handled, so you don't have to worry. Your rep handling it on that ComDev, so you don't have to worry about that. Right? And Miss Johnson, who spoke about getting the things to buy, just talk to Miss Moore and make arrangements. All right, so the final one, yes, please.
Pleasant good night to the panel. To the Chief Sec. The gentleman is asking me my name. I want to be remembered as the guy who is known, and everybody knows as the guy who, all the way. And I just want to remain with that name, all the way, because everybody knows me by the name of all the way. And all the way is my name is because when the chief selected me or called me, I went all the way for the chief. All right? I want to commend you on the great job that you are doing. I want to commend you on being a man of your word, a man of integrity, a man who supports, a man who fights. And I just want to make one comment. We have been talking about autonomy, getting autonomy, but could have it ever dawned on us that could it be that we are trying to get autonomy in the wrong direction? Meaning, we ever thought about acquiring the separation of the GDP of Trinidad and Tobago? Because knowledge is power. You know, every year they would give us the GDP of Trinidad and Tobago, the GDP of Trinidad and Tobago. But if the GDP is separated, then we would know how much money Trinidad is actually reaping us. 2019, the GDP of 2019, the GDP of 2010, the GDP of 2011. Okay? And then with this knowledge, knowing that they are raping us, knowing that we're getting less money than the money that Tobago is actually generating on an annual basis, then it would give us the affirmation, the encouragement to go on we own. Then we would try to acquire our own central bank to ensure that the money that Tobago generates stays here, remains here. Then after that we will try to acquire our own port. Because we watching we containers, we order goods from China, from Japan, from USA, and we watching we containers sailing and passing and going out to Trinidad, and then we had to pay to bring it back. It could never be fair. Wickedness in high places. And I want to end on this note, Mr. Farley. After the meeting, I'd like to have a word with you, please, Chief.
Sure, not a problem. The Tobago gross domestic product at constant prices for 2022 was approximately $1.65 billion. That's for 2022. We will get 2023 figure at the end of this year. But for last year, the Tobago gross domestic product was at approximately $1.65 billion. And usually in the budget statement that is made in June, attempt is made to disaggregate it. That aside though, it's difficult to have completely accurate calculation because we have to find a way to cater for all of the business outputs that don't pay their taxes in Tobago and that pay their taxes in Trinidad while doing business on the island of Tobago. So that is something that we have to look at as well when we look at the discussion. I want to say this though before we close. You know, Bethel is an interesting community. A very interesting community. And I mean that in the best possible way. Unfortunately, you know, over the years, Bethel has attracted different conversations about it for different reasons. And, you know, while sitting here, one of the things I thought missing from the meeting this evening is that I feel as though that there is still a core group from Bethel that we just have not been able to touch in such a formal setting as this. And I'm thinking Bethel is one of those communities, Plymouth being another, where as an executive we may have to move beyond the formal setting of a town hall and probably keep a block hall or something. Just go unannounced where they are, and find a way to talk with them. I'm talking the whole executive. They go blow some weed smoke in your face and that is fine. You get high in one way or the other and go back home and sleep it off. But we have to find a way to have a conversation with those young people who will not show up at a formal setting like this. But all in all, I want the community of Bethel to appreciate that you have produced quite a bit of talent for the people of Tobago. You have done well for yourself. We have had several, I don't want to call them Bethelians, who have represented this island and your community extremely well, for which you can be extraordinarily proud. And applaud yourself. And notwithstanding this stigma that might be forced upon you, I think Bethel has quite a lot to be proud of. And you should be justly proud of your people. I mean, you have one administrator in the house tonight. There's another one, I can't remember her name. Mrs. Williams, might help me. There was this other administrator from this area here. What's her name? Previous, retired now. Heather Carut, yeah, my good friend Miss Carut. When I was getting into teaching, she was one of those that was encouraging me and so on. As a matter of fact, the first time I encountered her in a meeting, I think I was working in the Division of Education at the time. Not yet as a teacher, but working in the division. And in the first meeting, I say, that woman had to be she from Bethel. I could have tell, before the end of the meeting, I could have tell she from Bethel. I'm going to tell her why I could have tell she from Bethel. But I could have tell she was from Bethel. And then sitting here, I'm seeing coming in. Oh, yes, we have head of our internal audit here as well. Also from Bethel, Miss Hackett. I'm Cindy Hackett. I'm seeing one of our seniors here from ComDev, Marva Baker. When I was in TYC and so days, and in those days, youth was with ComDev. She was one of those that worked diligently with us to get our programs off the ground. And then I saw coming in a little later in the evening, I saying, but where this young girl going step in this hour of the evening, she should be watching us on TV. I see former area rep, former member of the executive, Miriam Caesar Moore is here this evening as well. And you served, what, 3 terms? 3 terms. She served 3 terms as area rep in this community and served both on the government side and in the minority side as well. So thank you all for your service. I'm seeing my good friend down in the back there. Kind of controversial at times, but he's a good friend who has had to tap up sometime. Tom Lee Roberts, artist extraordinaire. You know, so thank you, Bethel, for what you have. And then Miss Moore, retired public servant as well. Mrs. Moore, right? She found a good Charleville man to change his surname. So thank you, Mrs. Moore. So, you know, Bethel, you are a live wire for the community of Tobago. You produce sons and daughters with immense talent. So I want to thank you all for doing that, notwithstanding the challenges. But I do feel that as an executive, yes, we have these town halls, and I know we're working on having a youth town hall specific to young people, but outside of those subsets, there are some communities that I think as an executive, we will just need to back up the town hall with just finding some of those young people where they are at, because they may never show up at these formal settings. And if we could save one of them, even if it's one, you know, the scripture talks about the one that is saved and all of heaven rejoices over one. If we save one of them, then I think there will be great rejoicing. And I'm sure we could save more than one of them. So thank you very much, Bethel. I will no doubt see a few of you afterwards, but I'll be very happy to go home earlier than as per usual this evening. So thank you all very much.
Thank you very much, Chief Secretary. Before you go, I'll just ask Pastor Baines to say a few closing words, and then we'll have the closing prayer by Mr. Cloyd Williams.
Good evening again. Let me just express my own gratitude for the Chief Secretary and Deputy Chief and my colleagues that are here, and for all of you that came out to the meeting tonight. I think that the meeting was conducted with the utmost respect, and I am very, very happy about that. I wanted to highlight, about 2 months ago, I spoke to artisan guys at the division about putting air conditioning in the community center. On Monday last week, when I just checked, they told me that it could not happen for the meeting this week. And I moved Hades and everything else to make sure, because it is a travesty to be the secretary of the division that has the community center under your purview and can't get something like that. And I want to, the guys came and installed the air conditions last Friday, and I want to say that we are very thankful in Bethel New Grange for the work of the artisan team at the division. And we also got some support from the technicians at infrastructure as well. I also want to thank producer Miss George, Crystal George from the Information Division, and Mr. Celestine, I believe, who did the video work. I think they did an excellent production, so that we could kind of communicate what we've been doing around the district. Thank you so much for coming out. I think we had a fantastic and a successful meeting. God bless you.
Shall we stand for the closing prayer?
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let us bow our heads as we reverently pray. And Father in heaven, we thank you for life. We thank you for the meeting tonight, and we give you all the praise and the glory that is due to your matchless name. Continue to bless us, we pray. Bless this executive, the team, willing, strong team, intelligent. Pray a special blessing on the Chief Secretary, Deputy, and all the secretaries and councillors. Help them, O God, not to get discouraged in any way, but to go forward in faith. Guide and direct us, we pray. We thank you for the discussion, the answers, and for the way the meeting was conducted. We give you glory again. So bless us, we pray. Take us to our various homes safely, and when all is end, may we all have a place in the everlasting kingdom, we pray. As we ask these mercies with thanksgiving, in Jesus' name, let everybody say amen. In Jesus' name.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. And Mr. Baines has so kindly provided some light refreshments for you. So please ensure you get your refreshments before you leave.